The autumn wind is a league, holding the treasures ye may seek. Have some fun and play along, whether for a day or for a week. Seek advice from a sage, or battle straight up. Square off in a cage, or joust without a cup. It's a FanDuel. Is it your favorite you take, or make the logical play? Will your foes stand before you and quiver and quake, as you will be crowned prince for a day? The autumn wind may be a casual player, FanDueling just to talk trash. But there will be those that will play, that will be able to say, I've got my hands on some cold, hard cash.
Hello and welcome to the Box Scores FanDuel Draft Day. I'm Brock here in Los Angeles from our very own Red Zone set, joined by the DanDuel who are in the Big Apple, of course, residing in the Fantasy Zone Lounge. Guys, Week 10 is upon us, and we have one DanDuel who has been dominating so far this season, and that is Seton. Fritzy, how long do you think this hot streak will last?
You know what? I'm speechless too. Fritzy not ready to talk because he's been in second place for so long.
Oh, I thought he was asking you about your domination.
No, he asked you how long.
Okay, we'll pick it up here. I think Seton's
Re-rack, re-cue.
record re-cue. I thought you were talking.
Don't start with we'll pick it up here.
I think it's going to end this week. He's going to do well. I could see him in the middle of the pack, but something's got to give.
So not last or first, somewhere in the middle?
He's going to be. I'm looking at third place for Seton, maybe even fourth. I think
possibly second.
I think the streak ends in week 10.
All right, I feel a laser focus on that end. Let's look back at our official DanDuel standings from Week 9. As you all know, Seton came in first amongst the guys, followed by McLovin, Pauly, Fritzy, with Dan pulling up the rear. McLovin's got a pretty good streak of going of second place finishes, but the bright side is he's never finished worse than third. Seton, is that a feat that you think he can keep up the rest of the year?
Well, he's been pretty much right there towards the top the whole year. It's been pretty impressive.
I took a big risk this week. It might fall apart.
All right.
Because I'm trying to, you've been we've all had to raise our bar or take big risks because you've been in the money a lot, $11. So I might fall. I'm feast or famine this week.
Now, have you been stockpiling all your winnings, or did you just blow that $11?
Nah, I'm putting it all, I'm stockpiling it, saving it for one big, probably
college education?
weeks. It's getting there.
Or a party?
It's getting there. I think I had an initial $50 investment, and it's probably somewhere back in the $30 range right now. So we're getting there.
Straight balling.
Have you guys been doing anything salary cap wise? Where you start with maybe putting in a few guys with some of the lower salaries, and then go to the bigger ones so you feel like, oh, I've got enough left now to get that big quarterback.
How's that working out for you?
Not great the last few weeks, but it's been fun to if you do the tight end, the kicker, and the defense instead of starting at the top, and then it shows that you still.
I always start. I go defense, kicker, tight end,
Yeah.
See, I had never
running
done
back,
that.
wide
But if you do
receiver.
that, then all of a sudden it shows that you still have $39,000 left for
Every
positions.
week I pick the cheapest defense, $4,000. Every week it's burned me and not worked at all.
Right.
And I've lost all those points. And every week I say, next week I'm going to spend on defense. And then I see those big receivers and I'm like, click, click, click. Tampa Bay, 4,000, bring it on, baby.
All right, before we move forward, let's look back. Week 9 brought fortune to some and pain to others. So let's see who made players happy and those who made some of them sad. Pauly started off with that finger-licking good picking.
I really felt that this guy was going to be great. I picked him on my team. I think a lot of people did, but he was cheap. I think it was $6,300 last week. D'Angelo Williams, the running back, filling in for Le'Veon Bell with the Steelers. 170 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Even though they pass the ball, they always run the ball. The Steelers always try to run the ball. Let's go over to another guy who's been on probably 7 times with finger looking good. Antonio Brown. He's had a couple off weeks, but 2 out of 8 off weeks? That's awesome. 17 catches, 284 yards, no touchdowns. I had him, and when he didn't have the touchdown, I was like, come on, man. You got to get a touchdown there to really take it over the top. Now, Cam Newton, touchdown machine in Week 9. 3 through the air, 1 on the ground, almost 300 yards passing, 57 rushing. He's not usually a big stat guy. He's more of a consistent, nice stat guy.
Running stats.
Yeah, he always gives you 6 points with the running, which kind of makes him. He's never been like the highest scoring guy, but he really did it. Now let's go over to Fritzy for the bust of the week.
Watching the Broncos game Sunday, I was hoping for two things. Peyton Manning would get the passing yardage record. That didn't happen. He was also tied, I believe, with Brett Favre for most career wins. That didn't happen either. Demaryius Thomas, I was debating between him and Emmanuel Sanders. I don't think either one did very well. I took Demaryius. Got me not very much. 5 catches, 50 yards, only 7.5 points. I was hoping for a minimum of like 13, 14.
Do you know it's a
from
coincidence that it seems like your busts of the week are often on your team?
Yeah, that's been happening a lot lately, especially the ones that are like a LeGarrette Blount negative 0.3,
Right.
and James Jones, barely existed for me. And it happened again with Brent Selleck, Eagles tight end. I was getting all ready for the Eagles-Cowboys game, and I didn't know if he was hurt. As I was watching the game progress, I wasn't even sure if he was playing.
A lot of zeros.
And then my son told me, well, look, he's walking around the end zone there. He's out there. He got me 0 catches for 0 yards. And maybe he got carried away by the ambulance that you could hear in the background.
You got to credit his consistency, though, Fritzy.
He was consistently awful.
0 catches for 0 yards. That it seems like you could have left out the yards.
Yeah, that's true. It would be hard to get yards without any catches. But I thought for sure that he must have been hurt, or maybe he was on injured reserve. I looked back at my notes to see if there was a questionable, or if he was out for the week. But he was
a death
out
in the family.
Something had to have happened. So. That's the 3rd week in a row I've had a player on my team that's got less than 1 fantasy point, which is not sexy at all. But you know who is sexy? Seton O'Connor, the breakthrough rock star of Week 9, is standing by.
Cole mother-grabbing Beasley.
Yeah, baby.
He's got rock and roll hair going. Now he finally had a pretty rock star-like performance. He goes 9 catches, 112 yards. No Tony Romo either. And let me tell you something. If Cole Beasley could stop tripping over his own feet, he would be really good. But instead, somehow he manages to run. He's got like open field and trips all over himself. I don't really understand why he does that, but I think his little legs are running faster than he possibly can keep up, and he wiped out. But he did have a pretty nice game, although he didn't necessarily break the system. McLovin has a system-breaking quarterback.
Do I even need to say who it is?
Andy?
Nope.
No?
My other guy, Blaine Gabbert, baby.
Oh, get out of here.
You thought that he wouldn't produce, but he did with a big 2-touchdown performance in a win over Atlanta. We're going to ignore those 2 pathetic interceptions. Blaine Gabbert, I've been waiting on him for like 4 years now. Finally came through.
I have a question.
Polly. Yes, Polly.
How many, and I wish we could do the research on this. Maybe we can call FanDuel. What percentage of people had Blaine Gabbert as their starting quarterback on their team this week? Do you think 4 teams out of the million teams that are probably on there?
I think he was announced the starter. Oh, did he come in? No, he started that game.
You had the chance to pick him. You could have picked him and got him on for nothing, basically.
Yeah.
But I wonder how many people picked him. Do you think he picked him? Like, did he had his own team?
I think Blaine's mom picked him.
You're not sure.
I'm not even positive that
You know what's funny? It reminds me, Blaine from Pretty in Pink has the same hair as Blaine Gabbert. Just throwing that out.
That's not a name. That's a major appliance.
His name is Blaine.
Blaine. All right, solid breakdown there from the guys. McLovin, we're expecting big things from Blaine Gabbert going forward, so we'll keep our eyes peeled on that. Don't go away. We're getting you ready for Week 10. It's time to reveal some lineups. And remember, in every fantasy truck draft, the Ram 1500 Eco Diesel is the only thing worth drafting. This bad boy can climb a hill, haul a trailer, and is good for at least 350 yards and 4 touchdowns every Sunday. Get more facts at ramtrucks.com. Guts, glory, Ram. Welcome back to the Box Scores FanDuel Draft Day. It's time to get ready for Week 10, but first, let's reveal the Danitz Challenge for this week. McLovin, what do you got?
Okay, it's Week 10. You have to have a player who played in the Big Ten. It'll be interesting to see how everyone justifies this.
Straightforward there. All right, Paulie, have you given up on your quest to make drafting a white running back a challenge in this league, or will it happen in the near future?
Yeah, I mean, the white running back, it's a dying breed, if there ever was a breed of white running back. Travis Jervey was my boy back in the day. But you know what? I'm still looking. Always looking, bro.
All right, now to the man who is white but not a running back. Todd Fritz, break off your lineup for us.
All right, at quarterback, I don't think I've started him all year at QB, but I'm going Aaron Rodgers. I think
Fritz,
he's
using your phone. Look at you
using my
embracing
phone.
technology.
How about that? He's on a mission after 2 tough losses, granted against 2 teams that were undefeated at the time, but after losing to Denver and Carolina, expecting a big game from Rodgers in Lambeau, hosting the lowly Detroit Lions. I'm going with my little buckaroo who had a great game a few weeks back. I'm going with Mr. Martin of the Buccaneers, Doug Martin. I think he's going to have a big game. Dallas at Tampa Bay. I'm hoping he's going to run all over the Cowboys. Lamar Miller, Miami running back at the Eagles. I'm going Antonio Brown for the Steelers, hosting Cleveland. Amari Cooper is listing him as questionable. I hope he's going to play, so I don't want to have to take him out of the lineup, but he is hosting the Minnesota Vikings. Stephon Diggs, I don't think I've played him all year. I'm going to give him a shot at the Raiders. Owen Daniels fulfills the challenge, Big Ten out of Wisconsin. So he's also questionable, but hopefully he'll be okay hosting the Chiefs. Graham Gano will kick for the Panthers for me at the Titans. And I'm going with the Steelers defense, the Steel Curtain, hosting Johnny Manziel and the Cleveland Browns, or whoever's going to be quartering this week.
Okay, well, Fritzy, Antonio Brown's struggles without Big Ben have been glaring so far this year. Is there any reason to believe that Brown and Landry Jones can get on the same page this week?
I think so. I like Landry Jones. I think he's going to do well. I mean, he may not get exactly the kind of numbers Antonio Brown as if Big Ben was starting, but I think they'll hook up. I think Antonio Brown's too good a receiver not to get some good points, even if it's a little less than he would have if Roethlisberger was under center.
All right, best of luck to you moving forward. To the front row, and the man who reeled off back-to-back first-place finishes in weeks 6 and 7, Paul Paps, who's on your roster.
Derek Carr, I think he's hitting his stride. Now, if Amari Cooper's out, that's going to be a big one. So I've kind of put a gamble there because I also have Amari Cooper as my wide receiver. This could be one of those terrible weeks if those guys don't hook up because one of them's injured. DeAngelo Williams, sticking with him. Mark Ingram got a lot more carries last week. When he gets the carries, he'll do it. I mean, that sounds like something, of course. I mean, if he doesn't get the carries, he can't do anything. Alshon Jeffrey. Now, Alshon Jeffrey didn't go to a Big Ten school, but he lives near some Big Ten schools.
Oh, boy, that is.
Here we go.
Delaney Walker.
Here we
I
go.
have no idea what. Robbie Gould. He didn't go to Minnesota, but he's been to Minnesota.
Oh, boy.
Where did Robbie Gould go to college? I have no idea.
Don't know.
Vandy?
Hopefully he went to
I don't
Indiana or
understand how
something.
this is allowed.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm sure a member of their defense.
Oh, I have Bucks.
Okay.
That's my Big Ten, too. And I'm not going to tell you who it is. You're going to have to wait till the next
I'm
segment.
going to look it up.
All right, Paulie, you took Mark Ingram at the running back position, and he hasn't found the end zone in 2 weeks. Are you relying on the old he's due factor?
A little bit. It is the he's due factor. He got a lot more carries. You know, that team is better when he runs the ball. You know, you just got to run the ball and avoid turnovers in this game, Brock.
All right, okay, we've got 2 lineups all set. And remember, if you want to play 1 week fantasy football against Dan and the Danettes, just go to FanDuel.com/Patrick and enter the promo code Patrick for a 100% deposit match up to $200 on new accounts, $5 to enter, and winners get instant cash as soon as contest ends. That's FanDuel, the leader in one-day fantasy sports. Stick around, we got 2 more lineups to break down. That's McLovin's and Seaton's. We are back here on the Box Scores FanDuel Draft Day. McLovin, you and Dan are the only 2 in the man cave with only 1 first place finished. As you look to climb the leaderboard, which Danette will be your toughest competition? Is it going to be Paulie or Fritzy?
Wow. What about Seaton? Well, Seaton's got 3. Is that your point?
At this point, I can't even keep track of them all.
I think you and Paul are about even. You're Paul's very feast or famine.
I started off with like a stretch of like 2 spots.
Have you finished first yet?
I finished first, I think, once. So the
Okay.
first 3 weeks, I was 3 weeks in a row, and that got the whole debate. Am I happy with this?
Todd's a little more
I'm
even,
second.
Steven. Paulie's a little more up and down. So Paulie can get way up there in points, or he can go way down. So I think Paulie is in more of a challenge for first place.
All right, well, he's been the most consistent in the man cave, so let's see who he's taking this week. McLovin, your lineup, please.
All right, I'm going with one Cameron Newton just to prove people who say I don't like him wrong. Although I think this could be a slightly tough matchup at Tennessee. I'm going with Darren McFadden because he is finally starting to step up for the Cowboys.
Rolling the dice on that one.
DeAngelo Williams is having some health issues. I think we're all watching that. We might have a problem there. A little worried about Landry Jones. All right, wide receiver. I picked AJ Green just because I had enough money left over. I really wanted Edelman. but I had money to kill and I had to get to 0, and I'm going to regret that probably. Then I went with Allen Robinson basically every week. Who do you want? Allen Robinson, Allen Hurns. You flip the coin. Allen Robinson, Allen Hurns. Then I went with Martavis Bryant, who actually has a good chemistry with Landry Jones. Tyler Eifert, great. Graham Gano, don't you know? And then the really cheap Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You may ask, who's from the Big Ten in this list? How about Tampa Bay Buccaneers linebacker Levante David from Nebraska in the Big Ten?
Kind of Big Ten.
Snuck that in there.
I think they might have already been in there by the time he played.
The Huskers.
Wink at that.
Hey, McLovin, you're back on the Tyler Eifert bandwagon after a 5-week hiatus. What's bringing you back to the big fella, and how long are you going to ride him this time?
That sounds weird.
Of course it does.
Basically, what happened was I fell more in love with Benjamin Watson, but for some reason at Washington, I didn't love the Watson matchup today. So Eifert is, he's a man in the red zone. If he does well, I will ride him to the rest of the season. Again, that just sounds weird.
All right, on to the man with the most first-place finishes this year. 4 of them, Seton O'Connor. Drop your lineup on us.
Well, I'm also apparently riding Tyler Eifert this week. And now that I look at 3 of my first 4 picks, I absolutely hate. So this is going to be fun. I took hashtag Tommy, Michigan man. I've got Giovanni Bernard.
I almost took him.
D'Angelo Williams, too. Same thing, waiting to see if he's hurt. Amari Cooper, also waiting to see if he's actually going to play. I've got Michael Crabtree, who I've been taking a bunch lately. Allen Robinson, I really like against Baltimore. Tyler Eifert, I took Steven Gostkowski. I think he'll be pretty active. And then defense, I went with the Carolina Panthers against the Tennessee Titans. I like that matchup a lot.
All right, Seton, you're taking both Raider wideouts this week, Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree. Why not just take Derek Carr and just complete the set? Why go with Tommy?
Well, because then one, how do you not want to go with Tommy? I also had to do the Big Ten thing. And the more that I look at, I don't like having both of those wide receivers. And I'm not really sure why I did that, but I talked myself into it somehow. Maybe I'll change Amari Cooper if he's going to sit and put somebody else in. But yeah, I mean, I guess all 3 of them would have been okay. Carr puts up great numbers. So.
All right, don't go away. We'll tell you who's on the Bosses team next. But first, we're going to take a break and remind you that the Ram Heavy Duty, with its best-in-class towing, torque, and horsepower, doesn't need one. Get more facts at ramtrucks.com. Guts, glory, Ram. We are closing up shop here on the Box Scores FanDuel Draft Day, and don't forget that's right, you can also take on Dan and the Danettes in weekly fantasy football. Just go to FanDuel.com/Patrick and enter the promo code Patrick for a 100% deposit match up to $200 on new accounts, $5 to enter, and winners get instant cash as soon as contest ends. All right, now DP has been pretty consistent with this whole I'm letting you guys win just to feel better about yourself excuse since he's had a couple last place finishes. Fritzy, are you buying that anymore, or are we just done with it?
I think we're done with that. I'm tired of hearing Mr. Dan Patrick's excuses. It's time for him to step up and show that he can finish somewhere other than 5th place. And even if it's middle of the pack, even if it's 3, just something a little more respectable. I don't want to hear the excuses anymore. I want to see him starting this week in Week 10, finish if not first. He's got to be at least with the 2nd place.
Fritzy, you are throwing shade.
I'm just saying what needs to be said.
Fritzy's throwing shade.
Finish in the top 2 this week, and over the next couple of weeks, try to finish it no worse than 3rd.
Boom.
Or else, you really need to reconvene and figure out what you're doing.
Reconvene your ass.
Oh, all right. Well, let's see who's on Dan's team this week, and if he can just reconvene his ass.
When you're this good, they build statues in your honor. And when it comes to FanDuel, I'm that good. I got Tom Brady. Nobody's even close to Brady this year. LeGarrette Blount, Lamar Miller, my guy, Amari Cooper. You know I love my Raiders. Stephon Diggs, how great has he been? Let's see, Demaryius Thomas is in there. I got Robbie Gould as my kicker. Robbie Gould. And I got the Ravens defense against Jacksonville. So I'm just sharing a secret there. There's the lineup for FanDuel. Good luck.
Interesting picks there again from Mr. Daniel. What did you think? You like that?
I like that team. He's got Brady. Lamar Miller's potentially good. Who is his other running back? I like that one too.
I think he's a 4th place finish this week.
Oh, he had LeGarrette Blount.
See, Blunt once in a while.
Crapshoot.
I like Brady and Blunt because you know they're getting in the end zone. It's either Blunt or it's Brady.
And he went to Marius to bounce back after week 9 against Kansas City.
I got to tell you one thing. Peyton owns the Chiefs. Who owns the Chiefs? Peyton owns the Chiefs. Peyton's going to go off this week. I actually looked hard at Peyton Manning, too.
All right, McLovin, the boss is hopping on the Stephon Diggs train this week. Has he become Teddy Bridgewater's go-to receiver?
Oh, yeah. Well, this is a Josh Duhamel original. Duhamel beat me because he had Stephon Diggs. I thought this was a really good pick. He's really good. I remember him in Maryland. I watched him. I'm like, this guy is awesome. He's going to be great at the pros. And then he fell like the 3rd or 4th round in the draft, so maybe I thought I was missing something. Turns out me and Josh Duhamel were right about Stephon Diggs all along.
Of course. Paulie, real quick,
Love
tell
you,
us
buddy.
which Danette comes out on top after week 10.
Man, I'm going to go with Fritzy. I thought his team looked pretty solid.
All right, well, it's
Good
time for me
analysis,
to...
Paul. That's why you're the best in business.
All right, well, it's time for me to pick which Danette I think is going to come out on
two
top.
questionable guys.
And I think I'm going to have to go with, Fritzy. And there's going to be a major brawl between him and Dan in the man cave. All right. That being said, Fritzy, tell us who's on the Dan Patrick Show tomorrow.
We've got NBC Football Night in America analyst Tony Dungy. He's
Or Minnesota defensive
He's also
back.
an author.
I think
was
he's a quarterback
head
in
coach,
Minnesota.
Right.
and colleague of Dan Patrick on Football Night in America. He works with Dan and Rodney
Father,
Harrison.
bicycle
We only have
rider.
that one guest, so we like to kind of stretch out their bios a little bit. But
Registered
Tony Dungy-
voter.
Speaker.
No, we just say
Registered
we
voter.
like to stretch
I
out.
like to
I
stretch
mean, only you.
Tony
like it.
Dungy will lead us off, and we'll fill in the pieces, or maybe we won't, and we'll just kind of
who
wing
knows?
it for
Former
the other
knows
two
who
fruit
cares?
halves.
possessor.
All right, thanks for watching the Box Score FanDuel Draft Show. You can watch the Danettes make their selections right here every Thursday on Audience or via the podcast or iTunes or at podcastone.com. Here we go.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer. My motto is simple: C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching the Box Score. Holy cow!